Welcome back. 3i Atlas gave us the prototype. Today we introduce the 4-pillar quantum arc, the framework for every arc we release next.
We closed 3i Atlas with integration and gratitude and handed you a daily breath tool. Now we're rolling the 4-pillar format forward as our framework.
And I think that clarity on the framework, the architecture, is just, it's so important.
It really is. It's the reliable structure for everything we do from here on out.
We learned so much building that prototype, and now we have this coordinated structure. So let's unpack these 4 components. We're talking about the ARC podcasts, quantum jumps, the songs, and the breathing series.
Exactly. And they're not really separate things, you know. They're designed as one integrated journey.
One flow.
One flow. The whole idea is to take you from, say, an abstract understanding all the way to a concrete embodied change.
So if you're starting a new arc, how does that sequence actually unfold? What's the path?
Well, it always begins with the ARC podcast.
Okay, so that's the context.
That's the context, yeah. It introduces the themes. It sort of frames the aim of that specific training cycle.
Right, it prepares the ground.
It does. And that foundational understanding, that's what gets you ready for the second pillar.
The quantum jump, which is really the core tool, the direct experience.
Exactly. The jump it's the moment of vibrational immersion. You're actually stepping into the experience itself.
And I imagine that can be pretty profound.
It can be, which is why the sequence immediately moves to the third pillar, the song.
Okay, so why the song right away? Why is that so crucial?
Because the jump is the experience, but the song is the anchor. It acts like a lyrical echo. You know, it helps that felt sense really stick. It takes that raw frequency of the jump and translates it into emotion, into memory.
So it's something you can almost hum later to bring the feeling back.
You got it. And then finally, you have the breathing series,
which provides that ongoing energetic support.
That's your simple daily tool.
It really does sound like a complete training cycle, but I want to zoom in on that second pillar because it feels like the engine of the whole arc. Quantum jumping. What is the precise definition we're working with here?
Okay, so the core concept is this. Quantum jumping is a guided inner practice that uses focused imagination, felt sense attention, and symbolic transit to access living sources of change.
Living sources of change. I love that phrasing. It feels so much more vital than just, abstract visualization.
And that's the key. I mean, for anyone hearing the word quantum and getting hung up on literal parallel worlds, the source material really just treats the multiverse as a useful metaphor.
It widens your permission.
It widens your permission. It lets you access and internalize a new vibrational reference without getting bogged down. The method is really about vibrational immersion and then integration.
And an arc is when we group a few of these jumps together.
An arc is just that. It's a curated sequence of jumps, all organized around a single aim. Think of it like a focused training cycle for one specific embodied shift.
So if the source is living, then the real work has to start after the jump is over.
Right, absolutely. The jump provides the reference, but the real power is in the integration. You observe, you listen, you receive. But then you have to act from that newly installed reference.
So integration isn't just remembering the cool visuals from the jump.
Not at all. Integration is living the change. It's the difference between knowing a word and actually using it in a sentence.
That makes perfect sense. Now, to make sure you're living that change effectively, the sources are very clear that not all jumps are the same. There are 5 distinct types.
That's right. They're like different doors into the same house.
And choosing the right door, the right jump type, aligns with the exact dimension of yourself you want to evolve.
Yeah, each one has a really distinct mechanism of change.
Okay, so let's walk through these doors. Let's talk about the mechanisms. What's the first jump type?
The first one is the doppelganger jump. And its mechanism is identity calibration.
Identity calibration. So you're meeting another version of yourself.
A different, already integrated version. The one who has already solved the problem or mastered the skill you're working on. The whole point is to rewire your self-image.
What makes that different from just, say, a positive affirmation? Just telling myself I'm successful.
It's the felt, shared experience. It installs a reference because you're accessing a living source. You don't just think you're capable. You're literally spending time in the resonance field of the version of you who is capable.
So it becomes experiential proof. I've already been this.
Exactly. It just overrides that old programming so much faster.
I get it. Okay, what's the second door?
That would be the timeline field jump. And this one operates through nervous system immersion.
Okay, so less about meeting a self and more about immersing in a reality.
You immerse fully in a reality where the desired change already happened. You live it directly. The focus is on somatic learning.
Why does the nervous system need that kind of deep soak?
Because your body needs to remember the destination. This bypasses all the rational mind's objections. Your body remembers what it feels like to live in a reality, for example.
So when you come back, your body holds that memory.
Yes. And it makes it easier to gravitate back toward that state because it now feels familiar.
Fascinating. So we've calibrated identity, we've immersed the nervous system. What's the third approach?
That's the environmental space jump. It uses what's called spatial energetic entraining.
So in this one, you enter a space, and the space itself does the work.
Pretty much. You enter a potent symbolic space, and the environment itself holds a transformational frequency that trains you, that entrains you.
Like walking into an ancient, silent library and just absorbing the quiet wisdom from the space itself.
That is a perfect example. The space does the work on you. The fourth type is the collective field jump. Its mechanism is shared momentum.
Okay, shared momentum. That sounds like you don't have to generate all the energy yourself.
You don't. You tune into an existing current that's already charged and sustained by many others. It could be an ancestral current, a field of planetary purpose, anything like that. It accelerates your growth.
That's powerful, but how do you make sure you're tapping into a beneficial current and not, say, a field of collective anxiety?
Well, the jump is specifically designed to guide your focus. It attunes you to sources of high-frequency fields of wisdom, compassion, collective healing. You're borrowing the lived reference from a collective that already holds that pattern.
Okay, and that brings us to the fifth and final jump type, the archetypal field jump. This sounds deep.
It is. It uses the root pattern as its mechanism. You're entering a timeless metaphysical blueprint.
The scaffolding of consciousness itself.
Things like the warrior or the healer, the architect.
Yeah.
Activating that soul-level memory for a huge structural reordering.
Wow. So you're stepping out of your personal story and into a universal one.
And that connection offers profound stability because it's a pattern that exists beyond your personality or your personal history.
So when you've moved through an arc using these different jumps, what does it make possible in daily life? What are the practical shifts?
The results are tangible. I mean, the sources frame them as attainable shifts. People report things like just making cleaner choices more easily, experiencing a steadier presence.
And I've heard it's a big one for creativity.
A huge one.
Yeah.
Unlocking creativity, fresh ideas. But I think the key differentiator is how the effort level changes.
Right. It's not about pushing anymore.
It's not. Because your identity gets updated during the jump, you just start acting from that newly installed reference. You're not using willpower to fight old resistance. You're simply being the version of you who already acts that way.
So instead of trying to be less stressed, you're acting from the reference point of the you that's already relaxed.
It's a radical shortcut. You're borrowing lived reference, and that just dramatically cuts down the time for integration.
Now let's get practical on delivery. How do you get all this content? It's through 2 main playlists, right?
Yes, just 2. The first is the ARC Project playlist.
And that's the full narrative experience.
It is. It's in story order. You get the podcast for a section, then it's jump, then it's song, one after the other. It's the learning and immersion playlist.
So that's for when you're doing the arc for the first time, you want the whole story.
Exactly. And the second one is the breathing series playlist.
It's a standalone tool.
Correct. That one contains only the 15-hour-long breathing tracks. It's designed for quick daily use. If you just need a 30-minute nervous system reset, you go straight there.
Okay, so for anyone listening who's ready to start the next section, let's make the action plan super clear.
It's really simple. First, listen to the podcast. Get the context.
Yep, 1.
Second, do the jump. That's the direct experience. And third, right after, let the song echo that feeling. Let it anchor in.
And the breathing.
You can use the breathing later if it helps you stabilize that reference or just, reset your system later in the day. A complete cycle. Context, experience, anchoring, and maintenance. And as you step away from the structure and back into daily life, what's the simplest cue to carry with you?
That's a great question.
What small act signals that effortlessness? If you are ready for this new journey, make sure to subscribe to the House of Mystics YouTube channel so you don't miss the next arc.
And be on the lookout for our next arc, the Quantum Jumping Primer, focused on making you a master quantum jumper.
Until next time, keep diving deep.